Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage. We've got all manner of bits and pieces to do, but mission one, Purdy needs to look a little bit cleaner. Top tip, if you're on an XK8, XKR, when you start the engine like I just did, and do that, don't turn it straight back off. You can get bore wash issues. It's probably run long enough that that won't happen, but a start, a few seconds running and turn back off, then leave is a bad idea with these cars. So we've got the garage full at the moment because we've got Olive in there. So poor old Purdy's having to live outside. I keep thinking get a cover, but I know she'll be back indoors before too long. And also with covers, you've got the issue of, are they going to rub the paintwork? Because even the best of them, they're slightly abrasive over time. And I do live in a very windy part of the country. I find that if you keep the car reasonably clean and reasonably shiny, then yeah, it's getting filthy, but it all just washes off really easily and it protects your car. It's basically non-stick. So bad as she looked, she hoses off quite well. I'm going to do now is I'm going to give a little bit of this stuff. Again, not the best. It's what I'm using, so I'm just sharing. Demon Foam, Snow Foam shampoo. Don't cost a lot, does the job. And I do that with my Karcher. Great gadgets if you've not got one, and actually saves you money. Snow foamer, stick it on your power wash, sucks up the liquid with a lot of air, blows it onto the car, and because it's so snowed up, foamed up, it sticks and you don't have to use so much shampoo. So real quick dusting over this and it's all soapy. There we go. Now, standard car wash would be just run away from the car in seconds, and you tend to keep dunking it and re-soaking it. So, snow foam type wash on one of these does save you money. And the best bit of doing the car wash like this is you should let the foam sit for a little bit. So, I'm literally done for a while. So, part of my cleaning regime, every time I wash the car, black key, yes, I know my badge is located wrong. That is not where the hole should be. It should be there. It's got to be changed. pop the boot and shut it again. And when I've finished washing the car, I give that a little squirt with WD-40. It's just my habit every time I wash the car. Still, by far, the most common thing I get asked about is I'm locked out my boot and my fob doesn't work and the button on the dash doesn't work and the key doesn't work. They didn't all stop working at the same time. That key is your get out of jail free card. Check it today. Okay, Purdy's been sitting for about 5 minutes now. And yes, I'm doing this in broad sunlight. But if I wasn't, then this is never going to get done. At the moment, this is the only time I've got when it's not hailing, raining, blowing sideways so cars are going past, or at work. So I let it set for about 5-6 minutes, and then call me extravagant. What I do is rinse it off, which takes away any debris that the foam's lifted, and then I put some more on and use my lamb's wool mitt to move it around and agitate it. Just my way of keeping down any marring and damage. As regulars to the show will know, a little while ago I did a complete brake upgrade on Purdy, the XK8. She's got EBC discs or rotors, depending on where you are in the world, slotted and grooved with a thermic coating. She's got red stuff even, EBC brake pads. I powder coated the calipers, rebuilt them with a rebuild kit, and added some EBC branded stainless steel braided hoses as well. That's all to give the car more feel, more bite on the brakes, and remove any chance of fade. The car is, because of lockdown, we've not really done too many miles. I've not even done a review yet on how effective those brakes are. But because of the nature of the pad and the disc, and they're running in, I know that there'll be a lot more iron and debris being shot off of the discs than is normally the case, just because the thermic coating is definitely being scraped off, the pads are bedding in, and so what I'm going to do is, between these two washes, I'm going to do a fallout removal process. Nothing too careful, too clever, just precautionary. Also, I've had a couple of questions lately about, I've got some sort of gritty finish on my paint all of a sudden, and I'm getting rust stains coming out of the paint. That is generally iron fallout. It can be atmospheric, it can be coming down in the rain, it can be coming off your brakes, it's coming up off the road. It's just dust that's got ferrous elements in it, and it hits your paintwork, and on a microscopic level it's very jagged and can get and cling to the paint rather well. As that then gains oxide, it grows, and it grows again in a very rough and sharp and shrapnel sort of way, and basically lodges itself in the pores in your paint and gets harder and harder to remove, and eventually will cause some damage. So you can use a clay bar, which will rip that out of the surface. But a really good idea, even if you are going to clay bar, which is a good process, is to use something to dissolve the majority of the oxide on that iron first. Basically shrink it so that it washes away, falls out, and again, it's just gentler. There are lots of fallout removers on the market. I actually recommend the Bilt Hamber one, but I don't have any at the moment. So I'm going to try this one out. It's Carplan's #1 Super Detox. And again, it's not a sponsored thing. I'm not saying this is great. This is just what I've got knocking around. They all work in a very similar way. Spray them on, preferably not in direct sunlight, so that they don't dry out too quickly. And they basically wet the iron, start attacking the oxide on it, and as a beautiful party trick, they stain it heavily and make the car look like it's bleeding. So if you've got any iron on the car, you'll know because of the colour change. Wheels are inevitably going to be covered in fallout and debris, so we'll start here. But all I wanted to do today is de-fall out my wheels and this area just to the back of it, because I know the brakes will be shedding like crazy just at the moment. So, relatively clean, but not cleaned up, it's just wetted really. Let's squirt this on. Nice liberal dosing, wet it. Doesn't matter if you get out on your tyres because you're going to wash it off quite soon, but it's not something that I can encourage. So away we go there. And this area just behind the wheel, because I suspect we're going to have a lot of stuff being emitted from the brakes, is probably an area for me to play with too. Okay, that's been about 5 minutes, and I don't want to let it dry on for too long because it gets hard to get back off again. The front of the wheel actually isn't that bad by the standards of how these things normally stain up, and I'm really pleased to see that the bodywork is pretty clean. There's a few little specks on the edge here, and you see that running down from around the repeater. That's because that'll have touched some, no doubt, bit of rust or bare metal on the aperture, but that's pretty good. You see some red staining down there, but if you look in the barrel of the wheel, that's the bit behind the spokes, it's like a butcher's block, and that's obviously because that's where most of the iron, the debris from the brakes is falling out. So what I'm going to do now is wash that off. I'll whip around the other wheels quite quickly, and then I'll get on to my actual soaping up of the car. And these were pretty clean wheels, to be fair. Been too much on the bodywork. So if you've got fallout on your bodywork and you've got a pale coloured car, it will look like an absolute bloodbath. Right, so I did say I was going to be extravagant, so I'm going to apply foam for the second time, but now I know there's no loose debris on the surface of the car, so this is my actual wash that I'm going to agitate. Now we've done that, I've got a bucket of clean water and my weapon of choice, a very clean lamb's wool mitt. And tend to wash high down. Obviously convertible, so no roof. And I'm not scrubbing it, I'm just making sure I'm agitating anything that's on the surface where I might not have been able to wash off with a non-contact method. Dumping in my bucket, grit guard in the bottom, rinse out of the bucket. You can use 2 buckets, but this is my way. And you can see that because I've used a snow foamer, the foamy soap stays on the car that bit longer, doesn't dry out too quickly, and I can tell where I've been. Next, rinse it off again. Okay, so Purdy's paintwork is essentially clean, and she does have a very nice finish on her. And this strong light is showing off the heavy pearl that you get in this quite rare actually, aquamarine mica is the name of the colour. They only made it for the first couple of years of production. Turned out to be a very expensive paint to apply and get right. Plus demand wasn't high, again. Very conservative buyers, people who bought Jags new. So your silvers, your gunmetals, all the sort of stable, nobody would be offended by colours, sold in much higher volumes than things like aquamarine mica and amaranth, which is purple. So I just wet that area down again. You see the watermarks already starting to appear, which is a sign it shouldn't wash your car in direct sunlight. But she's not polished. I'm not going to do that today. She's not waxed. I'm not going to do that in the traditional sense today, because until she's living indoors again, I don't see an awful lot of point. I live close to a beach, and there's a lot of debris flying around, and next door was doing a bit of building work, so there's all sorts of dust. So what I'm going to do is top up the protection it's already got. So I'm going to use this stuff, Meguiars Hybrid ceramic wax. It's something that's been in the sort of motoring press for about 12 months now as a bit of a wow product. I've used it. Purdy has got a coat of it on. Do I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. I think it's really good. It is a little expensive. Do I think it's got too much of a connection to a ceramic coating? No, if I'm honest. Ceramic coating, this has got the same substances in it, but it's not applied in the same way, it hasn't been set in the same way. I don't think it's the same thing at all. I think that's mainly because it's a popular phrase. So, you know, I'm going to say this is a really good product, just don't expect it to actually give you a ceramic coating, because I don't believe it does that. But that's my personal opinion, not based on facts. So first time you apply it, you basically wash your car, squirt this on, and then buff it in to dry the car off. You can apply it to a wet car, it's not a problem. Subsequent times like this, what you're supposed to do is spray it all over the car, and then use a strong stream of water to rinse it back off, and that flows it and pushes it around the vehicle. So that's what we're going to do today, and just see if it leaves us with a nice finish. Just if you want to compare to your own vehicle, Purdy is in very good condition, but she's far from a show car. She doesn't get detailed by anybody who knows what they're doing. She gets played with by me. I do look after her, but I would imagine most of you will have body work that's similar, let's say. So it's not like I'm applying this to a showroom standard vehicle, and therefore when I reveal the result, all I'm doing is showing you, yeah, I've got a nice car. But there are worse ones around than Purdy, that's for sure. which is probably in very good condition for a Mark 1. So this is a 1996 car. There's not many 96s, because they were only officially launched in 97. Right, so it's got a nice coating. A little heavy on this side, if I'm absolutely honest. That's because I hadn't shook the bottle well enough. So what we do now is hose her off to move it around and then dry it in the conventional manner. I'm bringing my own prejudices again rather than science into this. Just because of the way it looks, I think it's quite a good idea to sort of spread it around like that with the water. You kind of see the pattern left by it, so you know where it is. I go all over the car, whoops, doing that, and then wash it off till I see no residue. Now the last step is to dry off the car thoroughly, but of course being the height of British summer, it started to rain any moment. So the only sort of after shots I've got to share with you at the moment are these just before I dried it, but good enough to see that the Meguiars certainly has imbued it with a really nice deep shine. And yes, I've applied that stuff a couple of times previously, and the first time you apply it you do have to rub it in, but yeah, lots of nice beadiness and a nice deep shine, and it keeps the car pretty non-stick. And as this video finished not quite as I intended, is a tiny little bonus feature for the fans of the show, I've had 2 or 3 requests for, do I know where all of our subscribers are in the world? We have kind of become more of a club than we have a YouTube channel. And so yes, I do know that sort of information. I have some really good analytics are available on YouTube as a channel owner. So I thought I'd just share this with you. Obviously I'm based in the UK, it's a British car, and I'm speaking English. So it's of no real surprise that the majority of viewers are from the United Kingdom. In fact, 38.1%. But of course the XK8 has a worldwide following, and the next couple of names up, again, you could probably predict based on what I've just said. So we've got the United States as a close second at 22% of the views, Australia coming in next, followed by Canada, and then we break off into the rest of the world. And it's not so much the numbers that are important on this, this is just part of the list. I think what's really fascinating for me is we've got subscribers all over the world. There really isn't too many areas where I'm not seeing subscribers. So yeah, loving it, and maybe I'll share a little bit more on this sort of thing, some of the analytics with you on an XK8 show, or a separate little chat about YouTube. So thanks for watching. This is a little bit of an odds and sods video that was made whilst I was making another one and the weather turned on me, but I thought I'd share it. Hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe and follow and comment on To The Garage.